Hi there, everyone. This is Gypsy Spirit here with you. I'm ready to give you your daily tarot reading for January 31st, 2023. I've drawn a card and let's talk about it. We got the Two of Swords here. So, what does this mean? Well, two means balance, swords is conflict. So, when I see the Two of Swords like this card, I see that somebody out there is trying to find some sort of balance surrounding some sort of conflict. And, there is never any right or wrong decision. It's like you're at a crossroads and you're trying to make a decision on something. And I always think of the Led Zeppelin song Stairway to Heaven. There you have two paths to choose from. But when I see this card, and I think about conflict and making a decision about something, there is no right or wrong decision. You're either going to go one way or the other. Now, one way will lead you back to the same circumstances, and the other decision will, of course, bring you into more balance and harmony with the circumstances around you. There's two ways to look at this. And the reason why I say there's really no answer is because we're on a journey in this life, and there's always things coming in front of us that we have to make a decision about. If you make a decision that's going to take you back into the circumstances, that just means that whatever lesson that this situation that the universe is trying to help you learn so that you can move forward into the next chapter, gain growth and evolve, you're not ready. You didn't learn the lesson, so you got to repeat it again. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means that you haven't quite gotten it. It's kind of like when you were, I know I had, when I was a little girl, I think I had to repeat the third grade or something like that. I had to repeat a grade, the same sort of thing. But if you make the decision that's going to take you to a much more balanced path where you find balance and peace, then that means that you got the lesson, you got the wisdom and the growth, you're ready to evolve even more, and you're ready for a new chapter in your life. The best way to describe this is this makes me think about relationships. When I talk to women, and a lot of times, and I work with men too, but primarily with women. But when I hear them tell me that, they broke up with a guy and then they met another guy and it seems like they have the same problem, well, it's because you're not listening to the red flags. If you keep drawing the same kind of energy to you, it's because you haven't you haven't learned from the lessons from before, and so you keep going back into those same relationships, and until you learn what it is you need to learn so that you can make a shift and move forward and make better decisions about your relationships, then you're going to keep running into the same problem over and over again. And there's, you know what, there's nothing, um, nobody can judge you for that. You can't even judge yourself. It's just, you just haven't been, you're not ready. You haven't been ready to move forward. I'll give you a really good example. I have a friend who she's been with this guy for they met like in the 80s, and at the time he had a serious drug problem, and she was with him, and they lived together, and he destroyed a lot of things, and there was a serious drug issue. Okay. um, they were apart for a long time, and then I guess about 3 years ago they reconnected. He was sober from drinking, but he was still, getting high. And he was also an angry, like a dry alcoholic, still a lot of bitterness and anger. So even though he had given up the alcohol, he didn't do the work on the inside that he needed to do. Anyway, they reconnected. He moved back in. He moved in with her, and he doesn't drive. Well, he does drive, but he doesn't have a license to drive with. But he was driving her car. She was pretty much supporting him, taking care of him. And he was always, like saying things, insulting her, just really making her feel crappy. And she would always complain about him. I mean, I wouldn't say complain. She just needed somebody to vent to. And she, I listened to her vent. She had a few other friends that she vented to that were like a support system for her. In the end, it's a long story, but in the end, this guy stole a good bit of money from her. And she finally got rid of him. She locked her door. She had the doors to her, the locks on her door changed. She blocked him on Facebook. She blocked his number and blocked him from being able to text her. But she didn't block the email. And she leaves her door unlocked all the time. The only time she locks her door, even if she goes off to the store or something, she still leaves her door unlocked. And I remember walking in one day and I said, what are you going to do one day when you walk in your door and he's sitting on your couch? And she said, oh, he's not going to do that. And I remember thinking, why the hell would you go through the trouble of changing the locks on your door if you're never going to keep your door locked? But anyway, and then I have done this myself. Why would you block this person from everything except for your email? So recently she was talking to me and she opened up that she was talking to this guy again. She was talking to him through email. I said, oh, you're talking to him? She said, well, I have his mail. His mail gets sent here, so I'm just letting him know that he's got mail. No, you're not. That's an excuse. You're leaving the door open. So she's not quite made that decision. She knew in the beginning, and I'm not dogging her. I mean, she's a very lovely woman. But again, we are all on a journey and we have to learn. She hasn't quite learned the lesson yet. She, I guess he hasn't fucked her over enough yet. But he will. And she told me that they were communicating, but I said, well, you blocked him on everything. Why did you leave the email open? She left the email. She actually initiated the very first email conversation when she said she needed to find closure and express to him how she felt and why she was hurt, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, this guy, he doesn't give a rat's ass how she feels or whatever. But she felt like she needed to send him that email. And that was his way back in. And I have told her, well, okay, you just haven't learned the lesson yet. He is going to come back into your life. He may not be living with you, but he is going to come back. And he is going to take advantage of you again. But you just haven't learned. So the point that I'm getting at with this card, let's just say, for instance, okay, and I'm using my friend as an example, but let's just say, for instance, today, this particular guy called her and said, I'm really sorry, and I want to, I want to make amends. I want us to try to work things out. And she would say, okay, and not necessarily allow him to move back in, but rekindle that romantic relationship. Well, I mean, It doesn't take a psychic to figure out what's going to happen. He's going to use her and abuse her again. And that was a decision, when we're looking at the Two of Swords, she could make the decision whether to say no, which would let the universe know and herself know that she is now ready for the next part of her journey. She's evolved, she's grown, she's learned, and now she's ready, maybe ready for the kind of relationship with somebody that she's always wanted. If she says yes, then she just hasn't learned the lesson. And she hasn't learned what universe is trying to teach her. So she has to repeat it over and over again until she gets it. And it may not be necessarily with this guy. It could be with somebody else. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be with this guy in this particular situation. I mean, I've had a situation many years ago, I want to say back in the late 80s. I had a guy that was basically the same way. I mean, he used me, abused me any way he could because he knew he could. And I said, oh, I'm going to block him on everything. I'm not going to call him. I left. I closed up everything, any way of contacting him. But I still kept my phone bill. This is before cell phones, right? I still kept my phone bill that had his phone number on it because it was a long distance phone number. He lived in Florida. I live here in South Carolina. So even though I couldn't remember his number, I still had a way that I could get in touch with him because I could go back to my phone records and call him. And I did. I remember doing that deliberately, just keeping it open. No, I had not learned the lesson that I needed to learn, and I had to go through many, many other relationships that were very much like the relationship that I had with that guy before I got it. I had a dear friend very recently. I mean, I've known this person for a really long time. And he has always been there to help me. There's never been a romantic relationship. But if I've not learned anything, I have learned one thing in this life, that if somebody does you dirty or hurts you, they may tell you that they are so sorry, they're never going to do it again, blah, blah. And their intentions may be the very best of intentions, but we're human and we all are creatures of habit. And it's up to us to break the habit. 9 times out of 10, if somebody hurts you and they tell you they're never going to do it again, they'll do it again. If they did it the first time, then they're capable of doing it again. And I remember hearing somebody a long time ago say, the first time you're a victim, the second time you're a volunteer. So, like my friend, for instance, with the guy that, stole from her, and she's leaving that door open for him through email to reconnect with him. When and if they get back together, she has nobody. I mean, I'm not going to listen to it, but she has nobody that she can vent to about this person because she already had shut the door. I mean, she had a way out. She got out, but she allowed it to come back in. But I have learned that if somebody does you dirty once, they'll do it again. And recently, have this gentleman friend, nothing romantic, we're just friends. He's always done a lot to help me, and I'm very, very grateful for it. One day, about a month ago, I invited him over because I needed him to help me with something. And it was something that involved selling a vehicle. And I really just wanted him here to be just present because I didn't want people coming and thinking, especially men, thinking, oh, this is a woman. She's, because I walk with a cane, oh, she's crippled or whatever, or will take advantage of her. I wanted this person to just kind of make a presence there. But we did, he asked, he said, let me do the wheeling and dealing and the talking. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Well, the guy that bought the car offered me a little bit lower of a price that my friend and I had agreed on is what the car should sell for. Um, and so I went ahead and I agreed to it. I pretty much did the dealing. And when the person that bought the car, when they left, my friend went batshit crazy on. I mean, he started yelling at me. I mean, he really went off on me. Well, it's something I learned a long time ago, because it took me a long time to recover and heal from some of my past relationships. Is, first of all, I don't let a man make me cry, and I don't allow anybody to yell at me or make me feel like this big. I just don't allow it in my life. And I think that we're all here. We're supposed to lift each other up and help each other. Yes, we make mistakes, but you don't tear somebody down. So as soon as the guy that bought the car, as soon as he left, my friend went off on me like I had never heard him. And all the years that I've known him and hung out with him, he has never treated me the way he treated me that day. And I was almost in tears, almost. And I felt like, like I was the one that had done something so terrible and I needed to apologize. I mean, that's how he made me feel. And then he said, I'm sorry to come down on you like this. I just drank a little bit too much last night. Really? I don't give a rat's ass how much you drank last night or whatever. You're not going to talk to me like that. It took me a little while to think about it, how I wanted to deal with it. And I just decided that I would not give this person an opportunity to treat me like that again. So, sometimes I got to cut people out of our lives. And I mean, I always tell my son and some of my clients, if it doesn't bring you peace or happiness, whether it be a person, place, or thing, get rid of it. And so I chose to get rid of that friendship. As it's unfortunate, but I'm not going to allow it to come into my life again. So yes, I had to make a decision. There was a conflict. It was like this card right here. It was a conflict, a crossroads that I was at in regards to a friendship, making a decision. Uh, and if I would have made the decision to continue to be friends with him, then I was setting myself up to be treated like that again. Um, Maybe he would never treat me like that again. But I wasn't, and still am not willing to take that risk. Um, and so I made the decision that would take me to the path of balance and peace in my life. Um, Life is just too short to have to go through what I went through the last time with him. So that's the point that I'm trying to get across with this particular card. There again, there's really no right or wrong decision. If you make the decision that's going to take you back to the circumstances again, it just means that you didn't quite learn the lesson yet. But, that's what life is all about. We get chance after chance after chance. And if you stay stuck, then it's because you haven't quite learned the lesson. To You haven't grown or evolved to move forward into the next chapter. So you got to think about your decisions. Okay, listen. You know what? I can help you. If you are stuck or having a hard time making a decision on something, or just not quite able to see the forest through the trees, look me up. You can get a tarot reading with me. I can help you, get you some clarity. You can go to the box below and it has the information on how to get in touch with me. I can talk to you over the telephone, do a tarot reading with you over the phone, as long as you're in the United States and you speak English. Otherwise, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel to get a message or get a notice anytime that I put something out, please hit the subscribe button. I will see you again, most likely tomorrow. But in the meantime, try to make good choices, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.